Guys, let's get right into a trades. We've got a Superflex 12-team PPR with a 1.75 tight end premium start 10. Are you going A-Chain at 25 first or Brees Hall in a 25 second? Scott, start with you, man.
Listen, we are almost 2 years into when we started this show. And we're actually at a point now in Dynasty where I am almost to where I don't care about anything other than outcomes for running backs. I don't care who you are, other than probably Bijan. Don't care. Give me the higher pick. These guys are the same to me. People control me in the comments. They can tell me, man, how are you selling Brees Hall so low? But this isn't even close for me. I don't give a shit which one of these guys I have. Give me Devon, A-Chain, or a Chan, or a Kane, or however the hell you're saying it. Give me the 25 first over the 25 second. There's going to be a time and a place where I would much rather have that first in my back pocket than that second. And I'm putting both of these guys in my lineup and just living with the results.
What do you think, Shane?
Yeah, look, even if you want to take this from a player take perspective, right? Unfortunately, Brees Hall is in a running back committee with 3 other dudes. It's like the grossest orgy of all time. There's him. There's some dude that I don't even know his name. I think it's Patrick Newman, something like that. I don't know.
I can't help you.
Michael that's Carter. A fullback, Shane. Nick
whatever. He's getting snaps. And Michael Carter and what's his face? Dalvin Cook. And Dalvin Cook and Michael Carter are eating up half the usage and then leaving Brees Hall with the other half of this usage, which would be fine if we're talking about the Miami Dolphins offense, San Francisco 49ers offense.
The team can't score, Shane.
Philadelphia Eagles offense. Unfortunately, we're talking about the Zach Wilson-led Jets offense, who just brought in Trevor Siemian, and New York is all a flutter over. So, yeah, I'm going to take the pick, and I'm going to take A-Chain, the better pick, and the A-Chain.
So who's a positional comp for A-Chain, wide receiver-wise? I mean, you're still taking T. Higgins over A-Chain. Are you taking – is he like Brandon Ayuk in terms of value swap? He's a running back, but I don't know. He has a lot of juice right now. He's got a big trade market.
I want more than Ayuk. What about you, Scott? I want one of the sexy wide receivers from this. I want Zay Flowers. I got to get JSN from you. You got to give me one of those dudes.
What do you think about that, Scott?
So pure value, I think it's still give me the receiver equity because I know I can probably use that for other things. It's much more flexible. I mean, listen, A-Chain is not going to be for everybody in my league, right? There's going to be a couple people that go, he's too small. There's going to be a couple people that say, I don't trust that offense as much as we like the results from the Miami offense. We've also seen history of this offense, San Francisco, producing a new running back every 2 weeks. Now, this guy has good draft capital. He's a rookie. He has speed that we've probably never seen other than Raheem Mostert. So to say that he is going to be out of this role for any sort of future time, I don't think is correct. I think he probably is going to be the same type of player on your team for the next couple years, which is good. You just say, I'm going to play him, I'm going to plug him in, and I either get him in my lineup or I'm going to pay the consequences when he drops 50 points. So I think that's the biggest thing is it's the receiver. If I'm sitting there with A-Chain as my 4th or 5th running back, and I had him on my taxi. I have a team where I have him on my taxi. I haven't even promoted him yet because I haven't needed him. So now this week I'm going to promote him, but then I go, okay, what do I do? Am I starting him over Aaron Jones, and am I starting him over Brian Robinson this week? Like, that's the question that you might be running into if you were stashing him. So I think if it's just pure value, give me the receiver. If it's in my lineup to actually buy him and say, you know what, I'm going to roster construct around playing him every week, which that's what you have to do. You want to play A-Chain, you need to just put him in. And you need to say, I'm going to ride the 10 touches that he's going to get on average, and I'm going to ride the top offense in the NFL right now, and I'm just going to live with the results. You can't go, I'm going to sit him this week, start him after a big game, sit him when he only gets 7 touches. Like, you just have to commit to playing him. And if he doesn't fit that on your roster, then I don't want to be holding in the value on my bench in the form of a running back. And that's the running back landscape. So I think it just depends on your roster construction. If you're not prepared to play him every week, really no reason to have him.
I can't imagine you're not starting him every week. Now, I'll kick myself in the balls. because I didn't start him in 2 of the leagues I had him in.
Me
One of
as
them
well.
being the SFB 13, and another league I went with. Let's see what the Kendra Miller experience is going to look like. But I did start him in the other leagues, and there will be not a time for the rest of our pairing that he will not be started.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's move on to excuse me, to 2 other rookies here. Alex got in the stream very early, 10:31 a.m. to put this in here, so we're going to put it up on the screen. Can we get a price check on Tank Dell and CJ Stroud? How we feeling on them?
CJ Stroud is the QB1 of the class, but
He's looking nice.
Mostly because Anthony Richardson didn't play last week, but he's up there. Anyone that was betting on Stroud over Bryce Young looks like a genius. CJ Stroud looks really good. I remember someone brought it up. I forget who and where, but there was concern at some point about CJ Stroud's testing methods in one of our chats, matter of fact. And I was just like, this dude can't be that dumb. Like, I still like him. I mean, like, unless he can't spell cat, I'm in on him. And I'm happy to say it looks like he's going to be a stud. I don't know what to do with Tank Dell because he's not even a slot receiver. He's playing an outside receiver role. He's only got like a 20% slot share. I don't know. Can he survive as an outside receiver? Like, we've never seen someone his build do that. I mean, he has the first 3 weeks. He was a target share leader last week. So I guess if I could get him for a second, and I was making fun of people doing that in the preseason, that I guess I would do that.
Scott, where you at?
Well, let's start with Stroud. So we were talking about this earlier in the Heisman voice chat. If you're interested, patreon.com/allgas. You can join Heisman. Lots of great conversations in there. Lots of great conversations in the DTI 5. But we were talking about this, as I don't know where Shane went, but apparently he had to do something that he does not want us to see. If you want to get ahead on CJ Stroud, like we've talked about this on many streams in the past. This is a reactionary game now. A player's value is up when they have a good game. It's down when they don't play or they have a bad game. If their situation is looking cloudy, oh man, that player's not that good. It's like we see the immediate reactions. Now with that, it also means that everybody else is having to react just as fast as you. Now, they may not agree with it. You may say, hey, I'm not going to give up on a player after 2 bad games, or I'm not going to anoint CJ Stroud better than Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and all those guys after 3 games.
Right.
But if you think that's the way that he's trending, get ahead of it now, because as soon as you wait another, month, if he has 7 games, 8 games to start the season to what he's looked like in the first 3, it's over. There is no let's get a plus.
It's a 4 first guy.
He's basically, if you want CJ Stroud and you think, I've seen some comps of Tua, I've seen comps of Burrow. Like, if you think he's going to be in that tier, you need to go pay that type of price now, because what's the difference in a month, Clay? It's not going to be you have to pay that price. It's going to be you can't even get him anymore. So it's really like, if you want to do a pivot to where, let's say you're giving up Trevor Lawrence for CJ Stroud plus, Joe Burrow for CJ Stroud plus. Now, there might be people that go, I'm just not even doing that, because it's so immediate reactions in today's Dynasty game. Like, I'm not even interested in the guys that are struggling. You know what I mean? Like, if Stroud's going to get there, then I'm fine waiting on the 2 guys that are struggling right now that I've already seen get to that range. But if you're going to do it, you need to have the conviction to say, hey, Lawrence for Stroud in a second. Like, that's how close it is. That's how quick you have to react. There is no get a first on top of Stroud for one of those guys. Those days are over. He's in that tier. Another month of playing like he is, he's in that tier. So if you want him, you got to get him now. Otherwise, it's going to be in that range where it's like, man, Shane, do you really feel comfortable paying 104 startup prices for CJ Stroud in a month? Because that's what the person that has him is going to want. And if you're not coming with that type of offer, then you're just not going to get him. So if you have the conviction, get him now. It's the same with Richardson. If he wouldn't have got hurt, it'd be the same with him, the way he started the season. So if you want those guys, you got to go pay the first round startup price now, if not a little more, just to get them.
I mean, Richardson was on pace for 8 rushing touchdowns before he got injured in one game, which I don't know what the record is, but I feel like that would have been it. Can you imagine if he put up 8 rushing touchdowns? I mean, both those dudes look like they're legit, and their prices are only going to go higher. And I'll thank sweet baby Jesus every day that I listened to Scott and got me some Anthony Richardson shares, and that I listened to myself and got some CJ Stroud shares. Wish I had more, but, that's life.
Well, and just real quick on Tank Dell. So Tank Dell, just a guy. Let's face it. Like Shane said, yeah, he's a rookie, but I mean, you look at his numbers, they're good for a rookie, but are you willing to make the bet that he exceeds what he is right now? He's a usable receiver that is on a rookie deal that's tied to what we think is a good quarterback also on a rookie contract. But it's not like you look at Tank Dell and go, he's just absolutely breaking fantasy. I think it's an overcorrection because he is better than we expected, but how good is he really? You know what I mean? Like, he's not what we thought, but how good is he really, to the point where is he just another one of those wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4s that if you have him, you're more excited that you have him. You're more scared that you have to keep him because he's probably at his peak value and movability right now.
And he's still a part-time player. Like, my dude's only playing 60% of the snaps. And I don't want to compare him stylistically to him, but remember how good Darnell Mooney looked as a rookie? It was the ceiling was the sky was the limit, right?
Monster target share.
Yeah, there's a reason that these dudes weren't first round rookie picks.
Yeah, he's the Tutu Atwells and Tank Dells. Like, I try to think about them in a shallow format, and if they're even going to be relevant in a start 9, or a start 10. Like, they're nice little players at the start 11 or 12. It's just I always wonder who's going to be able to make that leap to be relevant in the shallow league as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about sending out some Tutu Atwell offers this afternoon on a cigarette break, and then I said, well, no, I don't actually want to pay anything for him. So it's not even worth my time, and I'm not going to insult someone sending out a third, because right now he's giving you points that are worth more than a third. So I didn't even bother. I just finished my cigarette.
So let's go to Brett Robinson here. Thank you very much for the super chat. 12-team Superflex start 9 half PPR has Mahomes, Watson, Love, Saquon, Pollard, Chubb, Dobbins, Warren, Terry McLaurin, Mike Williams, RIP, John, excuse me, Tony, Cooks, Kmet, Kincaid, and Schultz. Have a mid 24 first, not his. What do I do with all of these injuries is the question. It doesn't look like there's a second part, although, oh man. Okay, he said 2 different ones. Okay. Scott, what do you think we should do with this team? Mid first, 12-team, Superflex, start 9, half PPR.
Bro, I mean, Brett, anything you touch seems to get injured. If you look at this team, I mean, Chubb, Dobbins, Mike Williams, all those guys done for the year. Saquon, Deontay Johnson, Kadarius Toney. I mean, I don't know if you could blame his injuries on you. Those already existed when you had the guy before. But, I mean, this is a good team. It's set up very nicely. That running back room looked awesome going in. Now, I don't want to say hindsight, but what would we have said about this team prior to the season, Shane? I get it. It's a start 9 half PPR, but we would have said, man, that's a lot of volatility at running back built into this team. I would have loved to move one of those injured running backs for maybe a future first, or, because you didn't need all 5 of those running backs to compete in a start 9. You could have probably used another receiver. You probably could have used an extra first. I think this team still can contend with what you have because it is a start 9 and you have Mahomes, Watson, Love. Like, I don't want to waste a year with that. I can still get Pollard in there, Saquon when he's back. I mean, McLaurin, the Cooks. Like, it's not awesome, but feels like I still have to try to find ways to move. Can I move any of those injured guys for anything of use? I mean, I just don't think you can tank a team like this. You can't tank a team with Tony Pollard, Pat Mahomes, Watson. Like, you're already in it to finish in the middle. So I know you don't have your own first, but that should just drive me more to try to do what I can to patch these injuries and just get in the ship or get in the dance and see if I can make some noise.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You have Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, who had an excellent game last week and was screwed out of a 150-yard touchdown pass to Amari Cooper, from what I could tell from Scott's rage on Twitter.
63.
63, 150, whatever. It would have helped me. I know that. But you have a good team. If you just have one of those years where everyone gets injured, there's nothing you can do about that. I'd be 100% on board with trading Tony Pollard. But again, that's more because he's a running back, and you apparently are cursed, and there's a chance that he's going to get injured on your roster.
I think everybody's got to go, apparently. All right. Thanks for that super chat, Brett. Appreciate that. Sean W. also got in the stream really early with an inbox offer. Let's just hit this real quick. So 12 team super flex, start 10, PPR 1.5 for tight ends. Send Brock Purdy a late 24 first and a 25 first. Get Josh Allen.
Yes.
I hope he's done. I hope he already accepted this. Sean W. Hopefully you're celebrating. You took the rest of the day off after hitting accept.
Which reality are we in? Like, we're in our timeline, right?
That was a half reality and a half realtor.
It was half realtor, but we are in our reality, right? We're in our timeline. Like, we have the Josh Allen of this timeline, the Brock Purdy of this timeline. Yeah, I'm taking that trade. I'm getting Josh Allen, please.
Listen, I've gotten a couple questions about, man, have you looked at the quarterback scoring? It's very level. There hasn't been really hasn't been a quarterback that has just broke fantasy yet, at least none of the ones we are paying for. And people are asking, man, how are your 2 QB elite builds working out? And the answer is it depends on which ones.
Yeah.
Some of them are crushing. Some of them are, you're struggling and hoping that your QBs that you have get back. So that's one thing. Does that mean I'm not going to overpay for the elite quarterbacks? No, but I put it this way. Before the season, I probably would have gone, that's a laughable trade. But I at least can see where, especially if the quarterback scoring is a little different in your league, I can see where more people are willing to do that deal. Mm-hmm. And I actually think if you are trying to pivot off of the quote unquote wrong elite QB, you're not getting the price that you thought you would have got a month ago. Like, go try to pivot off Burrow or Lawrence. People will take them. They will upgrade to them. But in terms of that guy's worth 3 to 4 firsts, or that guy's worth.
So what should you be doing then? You should be buying these dudes. You should be sending out offers on Allen, and you should be sending out offers on Lawrence. You should be sending out offers on Watson, on Burrow, on other. That's the only elite ones that aren't really performing up to snuff, right? So far, Jalen Hurts, really.
You don't count Justin Fields as elite anymore, do you? No.
I think that ship has sailed.
Yeah, let's get into him because he is on the thumbnail. Thank you for the super chat. And Carrot 4 is apparently what that symbol is.
No, that's
Fields.
squared.
Panic time. Hold and pray.
That's N squared 4. So I don't want to continually plug our Patreon, but I'll plug our Patreon. We had a Discord, the Monday morning drive time with Shane and Scott on Monday morning. The previous Monday, not this Monday, the Monday prior. And it's always a venture on that ride. And we had Justin Fields conversation for 45 minutes. And, going into it, I was a little circumspect about his results. By the end of the conversation, listening to everyone else's thoughts and the market on him, I was pretty much 100% out. I did try to buy him low in a couple spots, and people got greedy. And now I bet they feel pretty bad. But after seeing what I saw last week, I'm even more out. Like, we thought he was going to come out just ripping and running, right? Like, this is Justin Fields is going.
The Chiefs D is legit though. Like, who thought he was going to smash?
It's good. But here's the thing: if you're a special player, you're going to put up points regardless of what defense you're playing at the quarterback position, because you could just take off and run when that's in your skill set. You didn't even bother to do that. So. Now, I'm panicked. I won't say I'm panicked anymore because I don't own him in any leagues. But if I had him, yes, I'd be in panic mode.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference, because if everyone remembers, we do have to have a little bit of insight and realize that you remember through a month last year, the panic was very similar on Justin Fields. And in fact, it was probably worse last year.
For sure.
Only because we hadn't seen anything good, really. Except for a very short period of time in 2021. Like, we really hadn't seen any elite play from Justin Fields. And then all of a sudden he goes from the first 4 games last year, just going like, this is a landscape where there's no possible chance anybody is going to be able to produce. So it bottomed out last year.
Mhm.
But then he just ripped off a ton of good games and ended up finishing as like a top 6 quarterback or top 7 quarterback. And so people forgave him. And then that's why the expectations were so high this year. Here's the problem. He's always been an absolutely horrible NFL quarterback. I put out that Zach Wilson tweet saying he was the worst quarterback in the last decade, and it's got like 1 million impressions. It's been the most popular tweet I've ever put out. But buried in that graphic, the 11th worst quarterback we've seen in the last decade is Justin Fields. And if you just take all of the names, if anyone sees the tweet, a lot of people have probably seen it. You look at the graphic and you go, man, everybody in the range that's around Justin Fields and Zach Wilson, every one of them sucks. And people are going, man, what is this metric? What is CPOE? What is EPA? What is quarterback efficiency? Why do I care about that? And I'm like, even if you're debating it, first of all, I didn't make the graphic. It's just from a website, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the second thing is, like, I'm giving you a list, and he's in a group with like literally 50
just
other
look at the
terrible
list.
QBs. So it has to say something when I say, yeah, here's the most comparable, and the 40 names that he's close to, all of them suck. And so it's like, that tells you something. But last year we were able to forgive him because guess what? He was still scoring fantasy points. I mean, Clay, do you know where Fields ranks right now in terms of fantasy points per game? Just take a guess.
26.
A little higher. And he actually had one pretty decent game. So, I mean, it's not like he's been a complete zero, but he's quarterback 22 in points per game. So it's not even like, man, he's a bad NFL passer, but he's scoring top 12 fantasy points. He's not even doing that. Like, you're starting Baker Mayfield and you're getting more points. So it's like, where is the value floor? And this is the third example we've had where, Shane, this guy must be pretty bad at like NFL quarterbacking. So I think people are starting to get wise when they realize, man, the ship might be sailed. The plug may be pulled after this year. Everyone knows the Bears situation, 2 first-round picks. Their pick is looking like the 101 or 102, and then they're going to have another pick, obviously from the Panthers, which is also looking like a top 5 pick.
Looking good.
The only thing I'll say about Fields, I wrote the strategy today, the Justin Fields exit strategy on Destination Devy. If you have subscription to it, you can check out that article. But only saving grace is he faces the Broncos this weekend at home. Now, the only worry is if he
70.
if he doesn't crush the Broncos, then we're probably in trouble. Like, that should be the get right game. I guess my question for Shane is, let's say he goes out and slays the Broncos. Top 5 quarterback this week in fantasy. Will people give him credit for that? Or will they just say, oh, the Broncos defense is the worst in the league. It was a fluke. Like, will it matter? Should you be trying to get out now, or do you gamble that he has a big game and things turn around in 1 week? Is it salvageable in 1 week?
I don't want to split the baby, but the people that still believe in him are going to be like, see, I showed you. And then I guess 70% of the rest of the market's going to go sell, take the life raft, take the life raft. Like, I keep joking around about it, but every time someone posts a trade in the Discord and they're like, what about this one? And it's Fields and a random first on the other side. I'm like, take the life raft, grab the rope. Like, if you drown after this, that's on you. And I'm not going to feel bad for you. Not really. That's a metaphorical analog.
I've got him in a couple 4-point per passing touchdown leagues, and it pains me to try to sell him. I know maybe just got to cut bait sometimes, but in that format, like Lamar and Fields, I thought I was in this like dream spot. I
mean, what's your record? I mean, you have Lamar, so what's your record in that league, Clay?
Yeah, I'm 1-2.
And have you jammed Fields in every week, just praying that he gives you good points?
So I sat him and put Dak in his place, and Dak didn't exactly smash, but I think it was 6 more points than Fields or something. So at least I did sit him. That's a big move for me. Let's go ahead.
I just want to highlight this because Shane is very, very bold about this, but I want to let him repeat it on the stream. Shane, you are taking any first round pick for Justin Fields, right? Just walking away. There is no, I'll wait later. I'll nickel and dime. I'll try to get a second. It is goodbye. See ya. I'll wipe. It's somebody else's problem that they can deal with, right?
Yeah. Look, if I could squeeze whatever backup quarterback they have on their roster, I mean any backup, like Tyler Bagent,
Kobe Brissett,
like Tyson Bagent, who is going to take over Fields.
Yeah. Okay. Tyler Huntley, just a human being that can play the quarterback position. Mark Rippon's grandson, Brett Ripien. I don't care. Give me him.
His
I couldn't
grandson.
do it. I couldn't sell him for a single first. I'm still going to somehow need to get 2
Clay
firsts
is
in
the guy you sell him
package.
to.
Look, I'm going to trust the process, right?
I
Like,
will definitely buy Justin Fields for a.
and if,
It'll have to be a late 24 first. Have
yeah,
to be a
and if you
strong
want to buy
playoff team.
low, and here's the thing: if you want to buy low, I have no problem giving up a late 24 first for something that you're convicted in. You know what I mean? And just understanding that, all right, there's a pretty good chance that this pick's going to end up getting flushed down the toilet. And I can't do this all the time, but let me try it with someone like Fields, who has a physical ability to go out there and put up elite QB1 numbers like he did last year. At least
like Scott was saying, it's kind of an NFL quarterback problem.
Yeah.
You know, him having a leash for being a good NFL quarterback. Bailey, thank you for the super chat. He's got a 1 of 2 here. 12 teams, start 10, super flex, no tight end premium with 12-man bench. It's half PPR and half point per first down. Tua, Anthony Richardson, Gino, and Kyler at QB. Ramondre, Monty, and Bums. Tyreek Hill, Higgins, DK, Keenan, Marquise Brown, Jaden Reed, and then he has Andrews and Waller. All picks except for a 24 first. Trades so far sent 24 first and Pittman for Higgins and a 24 fourth. Sent. All right, let's start with that one. What do you think about that one? We both made faces, noises, things like that. Yeah.
It's easy to say this is a bad deal with how Higgins is produced and how their offense looks, but
yeah,
none of us would have done that trade before the season. So we wouldn't have given up a leverage deal where we're throwing a first just to upgrade at what our wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4 spots. I mean, that's not a good process trade to begin with. If all you're getting is T Higgins. Now, if that was, Amon-Ra St. Brown or, someone that's a tier above, then I could have lived with it, even if you missed. Even if that was, like, I would trade Garrett Wilson for that deal right now. But if you would have got Garrett Wilson for that before the season, before the Rodgers injury, and you were betting on Garrett Wilson, the ascending asset, then okay. But yeah, that looks like just a nightmare deal to give up Pittman. And I mean, you've given up the better receiver.
Yeah. So
and the first, but
there's 3 wide receivers this year that have had double digit targets every week. None of those wide receivers are T Higgins. One of them is Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's only 25. And I know the narrative before the season was, and it's based off historical comps or what's happened in the past. Rookie quarterback, running quarterback, he could be in trouble. It definitely could have went that way, but it seems that Gardner Minshew's locked on them. Before that, Anthony Richardson locked on them. Like, he's just the target hog in that offense. Like, it's just going to continue. So no, I don't like that trade. Is nice way I said.
Let's
go ahead. You smashed the second trade.
Yeah, let me read it out.
Yeah.
So sent Cam Akers, Rashad Bateman, Mechie, and Hunter Henry for Keenan Allen. Yeah, you traded a bunch of cloggers.
Yeah, you killed that. So what I would do is just tell people combine this into one trade, and then it sounds better in the aggregate. So yeah, no, I love that trade for Keenan Allen.
Nice week this past week for that trade to come through. And he said thoughts, what to do from here. Let's take a quick peek at his team. Give us a $10 super chat here. It's half PPR, half point per first down. That's a good looking QB room. I mean, could you ask for more?
No, he's got a competent QB room, even with Kyler not playing. And it sounds like Kyler is going to play. And hate to say it, but the Arizona offense actually looks competent. And I'm kind of excited for Kyler to come back. If he comes back, kind of excited for him to come back. And then you got,
got Marquise Brown as the stack, but
well, you've hit on Hollywood Brown. You've hit on DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill so far. I mean, you're stuck with Higgins, but I mean, I do laugh at the running back room. Ram Monty Bums. Funny,
Monty Bums.
Would have been nice to have that 24 first laying around right now to maybe buy a running back upgrade somewhere. That might be what keeps you from getting a buy. But I mean, this is a good team. I'm sure this team's doing well. 3-0, 2-1.
Yeah, tight end solid too with Andrews and Waller. All right, thank you for that. Thank you for that super chat. Let's knock out an early inbox offer just in case this is sitting in K Foreman 10's inbox. 12-team super flex, start 11 PPR. Send Diggs, Brian Robinson, and Tutu Atwell for T-Law. Other QBs, Hurts, Carr, Jimmy G. Feel like the value is there, but don't want to take my team out of contention. I'm 3-0.
I'm doing this.
What?
T-Law, please.
Yeah, I mean, even in a start 11, yeah, because none of the dudes you're giving up are a quarterback, and it's not like you're giving up significant pieces outside of Steph Diggs, and this is from a guy that I like Brian Robinson. He's fine, but no, dude, yeah, smash that. Go get yourself some what's that guy's name? Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, you have to there. You have to. You're never going to have that available again at that price.
Nope.
That's getting full value for old man Diggs. Okay, let's go to Dustin, and then I'll pull up another question here. Thank you for the super tat. Thank you for the super tat. Dustin DeKonig, 12-team start 10 Superflex PPR 1.5 for tight ends. Records 2-1. The question is contend or tank. Roster is Josh Allen, Hurts. Well, there's a problem. Stafford, Christian Watson, Ayuk, Mike Evans, Jacoby, JSN, James Conner, AJ Dillon, Goddard, OG picks, and an extra second and third. Any moves? Mid-team and likely trending down. Thanks. I said that's a problem right off the bat with Josh Allen and Hurts. Kind of tough to tank that team.
Yeah, I mean, you're 2-1 with your quarterbacks not playing particularly well or scoring particularly well. I look, if I'm closer to contending than not, I think I'd rather try to contend. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look up Jacoby Myers' target share because it was ridiculous.
It's 31%. Him and Adams are the highest two combo in the league, and that's
ridiculous.
To your point, if I have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, I don't give a shit what the rest of my team is. That's a contender for this year. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you want to get creative and try to find ways to sell like Mike Evans and replace the production, and not even the production. When you sell a guy like Mike Evans on a team like this, you are kind of like retooling midseason and you're just recouping the value, but you're just going to throw something else into his place to where you go, I probably wouldn't have started that guy, but I have Tank Dell on my bench and I haven't been playing him. I have Josh Palmer on my bench and now I have a chance to maybe play him. In a start 10, you would go, man, those guys are not locked in starters. But when you trade Mike Evans, is he a downgrade to going to one of those guys from Evans? Yes. But now I'm able to start somebody that I wouldn't have probably been starting before. But I don't purposely try to blow up a team that has Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Like any given week, those guys could take you to the finals by themselves as long as you just get some points elsewhere. So yeah, that I wouldn't worry that it's a mid-tier team. I'll just say this, people that have the elite QBs, especially the ones that you've seen produce at the elite level before, wait till the bye weeks, wait till other teams that are rolling out Andy Dalton and Jimmy Garoppolo are not feeling so confident in 3 weeks. Just wait to where that stability and that upside feels a little bit better later on in the season. Definitely trust that process.
I mean, that's what you build towards, right? That's how you build an elite team is through your quarterback room. So you can't be mad that your quarterbacks are elite and you don't think your wide receivers are or your running backs aren't. Like, no, dude, like you've got the 2 elite quarterbacks. Now let the rest of the team just has to be good to decent. That's probably the other way around. Decent to good, but you get the gist.
And he's had some injuries. He had Ayuk, he had Christian Watson. Like your team really hasn't hit to where it could.
Right.
You can be good with that team that you had.
So this was from our Discord earlier. If you're rebuilding, what type of moves are you making with a QB room of Tua, Watson, and Dak? Thought this made sense to bring it in now since we were talking QBs. It's a nice little QB room, but Scott, what are you doing if this is your QB room and you're rebuilding? Was the specific question.
I mean, I'm good with this QB room probably going forward. I mean, if you put it this way, all of these QBs are, there's a sliver of all of them that are acquired taste. They're not just a locked in market will love them no matter what. I think generally the market likes all three to an extent when they're playing well, especially. But I also think where the market could turn on any of these three if something negative happened. You've already seen it with Dak. You've definitely seen it with Watson. Any negative thing he does just gets blown out of proportion, which, okay, he put himself in that situation. And then we all know the risk with Tua. So I don't look at this as, man, this is a risky QB room. Like these are 3 dudes that are going to have starting jobs until they don't. So there's not any risk of these guys falling. But Shane, how can I create value out of this QB room where it doesn't exist on the surface? Can I move one of these guys and get a second? Can I get Kyler Murray in a second for one of these guys right now?
To a Tagovailoa.
And that's not disrupting at all my QB room for next year, right? You feel the same confidence with Tua versus Kyler, but I got a free second out of it. Yep. Same if a guy were to get injured. If Burrow were to go on the IR, I bet you could get Burrow for Watson. You know, you could make that kind of pivot and feel okay with it because you don't disrupt what your build is.
And as discussed in our Discord channel, if there's one dude that could go from 100% value to 0% value in one play, it is our friend Tua, who has looked great, and I do not wish that on, but he's the one I would be moving on from.
Yeah, no doubt. So Shane has just mentioned, and we have said about our Discord. Look below me there. Join our Patreon if you are able. The 365 eyeballs in here. Thank you for joining. Patreon.com/allgas. You can find our tier. It's a Dynasty Trades in 5 tier. Private Discord. We have a bunch of sub channels, trash trade offers, roster review. Just a general chat. Shane and Scott do a Monday morning drive, which is pretty cool, and an hour-long live AMA on Saturday night. So just a ton of bonus content. Take a peek. Patreon.com/allgas is our tier. And then if you want to go to destinationdevy.com, they have the Destination 5 tier, which is a combo tier with the Destination Devy Heisman tier and ours. So it's an obnoxious amount of content. Big win. Just incredibly busy in that Discord, ours included.
380 eyes in here. I expect to see everybody in the Discord at some point.
No, it's growing. It's growing and it's fantastic. We appreciate the support. It's definitely going to be the lifeblood of this channel. That's for sure. Okay. So let's move on to another question here in our chat. Corey Williams has a super chat for us. Thank you very much. 1 of 2, 10 teams, start 11, Superflex, PPR, 1.5 for tight ends, 0-3 despite top 4 in points. Assets are Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, James Cook, Connor, A-Chain, Scrubs, Pitts, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Ayuk, Christian Watson, Puka, Godwin, Nico, and Deontay. Rings off a bunch of players. I have 224 firsts, 224 seconds, 225 firsts. The only 0-3 team. Should I use player/picks to buy up to try to turn it around or sell selectively to acquire more 24 picks? How much to keep versus tear down? Okay, so going back to his team, 10-team Superflex, start 11. Main assets, we're looking at Mahomes, Lamar, James Cook. Yeah, go ahead. You can
Devin a chain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his wide receivers are good. Look, this is one of those, your top 4 in points scored. Like, it's just, you've got kicked in the nuts a few times so far at the beginning of this year. It happens. It's gonna regress. It's gonna even out, and you're gonna be fine. I'm not tearing this down under any circumstances. But if you wanted to make some moves, you wanted to sell high on Puka, you wanted to sell high on Nico. Can't sell on John, but if you wanted to sell high on Puka and Nico, I think you could do that and you'd still be in the same spot pretty much to compete.
Yeah, this is one of those where the more and more we look at these, I'm starting to kind of change my tune just a little bit. Like, this is one of those on the surface, you look at the team and you go, damn, this is a pretty stacked team. Now, top 4 in points means I've probably gotten bad luck in terms of my schedule thus far, but I probably also didn't start Devon A-Chain. I probably missed out on I'm sure I missed out on that first Puka week.
At least one Puka, yeah.
And I may have not started him. It's a start 11, so I probably was starting Godwin,
Deontay Johnson,
Ayuk, Amon-Ra. I probably didn't start Puka in week 2 either, most likely, because I started James. I mean, I good chance you didn't have him in the lineup. So you've missed out on a ton of points. You've missed out on like 3 of the top 15 fantasy point weeks from non-quarterbacks thus far. And now you're sitting here with a roster where you're like, damn, this is a good team. I probably can set a pretty competitive lineup, but here's the only thing. It's a 10 team, which means every other team in my league probably has 2 quarterbacks that they're not Lamar and Pat Mahomes, but they're not the same as if it's a 14 team or a 12 team where there's 2 or 3 teams that are literally trying to start Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Josh Dobbs. Here, I bet you every team probably matched you a lot closer at QB than you really gave it credit for.
Dude, he had Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah, but in a 10 team, the positional advantage isn't quite there.
I get that.
I'm explaining why he's 0-3. I'm not explaining what he could be going forward, but what I'm saying is if you're going to put the same values we place on QBs in a 10 team, then you need them to produce at that range. Because here's the thing, if you had this roster and it was, Burrow and Lawrence, you're getting killed. It doesn't even matter who your other teams are or other players are. And it's because everybody else isn't struggling to start QBs. Now, as the season goes on, I get it, but you've seen our chat in the Discord, Shane. In a 10 team, I am much more in favor of just having 4 quarterbacks.
I get it. Everybody's scared of quarterbacks because they've had 3 bad weeks so far. I get it. Everyone's out on them. Quarterbacks are dead. Just trade them all for running backs, guys. I mean, that's basically the panic in the streets. Panic in the streets over the quarterbacks having three rough weeks.
But you get what I'm saying. In a 10 team, with the way that the war has distributed this year at quarterback, it's not favorable in a 10 team to have the elite ones because they haven't been the difference-making players that you would have expected yet. I agree. But he's 0-3. So, I mean, I don't know if you had any thoughts on what he should do, but he's 0-3. He just has to keep setting his best lineup, right?
So here's the thing, and we're already getting over our skis, people. Let's not act like at the end of the playoff season, right? Like the 5th and 4th seed are like 5 games ahead of the 6th seed, the 7th seed. Dude, it's literally 1 or 2 games. You rip off 2 wins in a row, and guess what? You're middle of the pack. I'm not panicking like that at 0-3 with that team. There's teams that I legitimately, if I'm 0-3 and I've earned it, I'm going, I got to move pieces. I got to do something else. This one, I think you can just move little pieces relative to the others. And Puka, I was going to call him Pico. I was just going to combine him and Nico Collins. Puka and Nico Collins and still pick up pieces. That's just my thoughts on it.
Here's a quick one for you, Scott. Tyler Beck, thank you for the super chat. Mahomes or T-Law, 25 first, 26 first. 12 teams, start 10, 4-point per passing touchdown.
4-point passing touchdown. I'm okay taking the extra picks just because the skill players that you can get are worth more, but depends on your league market. Are you just going to be stuck with those 2 firsts, or are that going to be legitimate assets that I can move around? Like, can I turn those 2 firsts and something else into a top 10 receiver? If so, then I'll give me the Lawrence side. If I'm just going to get stuck with them, then I'm okay keeping Mahomes. Got to be an active league.
Yeah, great. Okay. Did you want to weigh in on that, Shane?
No, but I like this comment, Mario V even. I am so blind right now. I wish I was wearing my glasses. But Mario says people just want to act. Inaction is scary when you're 0-3. And look, I don't always advocate inaction. I like to be, sometimes I like to calm down and go, all right, let me look at what's actually happening here. Do I need to panic? I'll panic when there's reason to panic. You know what I mean? Like if the house is on fire, I'm not just going to sit there. But if it's just the toaster oven's burning, we'll be all right.
You'll get up. You'll go check on it. Yeah.
It'd be all right. I'll turn it off. I'll be like, oh, I guess you can't leave bagels in the toaster oven for 45 minutes, huh? That's all right.
In the Discord the other day, didn't somebody like ask you to do more like comparisons of like players to consumer products?
There was street value. There was a request for bringing up the street value of some players.
That's right. It was the Will Levis. Brought that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work out some kind of like scale ratio to get that working properly. But we'll be looking forward to that. Yeah,
we'll do better. Scott, we'll go to you on this one. Bob Pierce, thank you for the super chat. A lot of trades are being offered, but most are for running backs. Are you giving late picks for running backs that help your RB room, i.e. Zach Moss for a random second? Are you giving a random second for Zach Moss right now?
No, but isn't this the same Bob Pierce that a couple weeks ago tried to give a bunch of super chats? And
yeah,
Bob, I got to commend Bob. He figured out how to ask the question with the super chat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks again, Bob.
I'll just say this. We had this discussion in the Heisman chat tonight before I jumped in here, probably 3 hours ago. Running backs today, and it's not just the Zach Mosses of the world, it's 95% of them, You are seeing through 3 weeks in Dynasty, running backs are as good as what they can do for the team that has them in this week or the upcoming game. So for Zach Moss, you are sure, go try to trade Zach Moss for a second. But I'm going to tell you to go pound it if you try to trade me, Zach Moss, for a second. I'm not paying a second. Just like when Clay tried to nickel and dime me for a second on Josh Kelly, not realizing Josh Kelly sucks. And the point is, if you have Zach Moss and you're not winning, he should be gone for a third. Don't even care. I'm not trying to gouge. The value is getting the deal done. And I should also go be able to buy Zach Moss for a third if he's on a team that's not using him. There shouldn't be he's worth a second because he had 2 good games in a row. Or he's not worth anything because he hasn't had a good game. It's about right now, is someone starting them? If they're not, they're worth nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it is 2 more starts enough for you to consider. 1 more start. What week is this coming up? 3?
4.
No, 4. Jesus, yes, that's
4.
right. The Eagles are 3-0. I forgot. Sorry. late week. We've got definitely 1 more start out of him, right? I don't know how many more starts we have out of him. So he's going. Like, 1 start isn't enough for a second if it's not in the playoffs. Not for me.
Well, and so here's the thing. Let's say Shane has a team that's in the middle, and I have a team that's in the middle. Shane wants to sell Zach Moss. He only wants to sell me Zach Moss for a second. Here's my assessment. I go to my team. Do I need to play him this week?
Yeah, right.
If the answer is no, then I'm not paying the second. It's that simple. And Shane, I can say, Shane, are you playing Zach Moss this week? Well, no, Scott, I didn't have him in my lineup. But you still want a second. You understand that your Zach Moss share could go to 0 with 1 ankle sprain and he's dead. You know what I mean? So it's like both people have to be willing to compromise in the middle. And I just see too many people saying, oh, man, I can't trade your Raheem Mostert for a second. I can't. He's worth more because he just did an awesome game on Sunday. Okay, how does that help anybody? He is what is the person using him right now? That is his value. No more, no less.
Yep. Well said. Gamer Dude, thank you for the super chat. T-Law, Deshaun Watson, Miles Sanders, Roshan, Charbonnet, Ridley, Christian Watson, Puka, Elijah Moore, Downs, Laporta, and Njoku. Just traded Diggs and 2/3 for 25 and 26 firsts, both mid/late, and Michael Wilson. How'd I do? Any other moves? We don't have the format is the problem here. I mean, you have to think it's a little bit more on the shallow side if you're able to get 2 firsts, for Diggs.
He traded Diggs and 2/3 for a 25 and a 26 first. That's one of those, like, I could see making a deal like that. If I'm buying an old person, I'll kick the can to 26. You know what I mean? If I was trying to get Devontae Adams, I'd rather give up those 2 picks. Although, frankly, I'd rather give up my 24 because my 24 is going to be better. So I just talked myself into a circle. So his question is, how did he do? He traded Diggs and 2/3 for a 25 and a 26 first. He traded Diggs for a 25 and a 26 first.
Correct.
I don't like it. It's 2 firsts, yes. And I know sometimes I'll talk out of both sides of my mouth with this, but 26 is a little far away. The time value of money makes that 26 first worth about a second right now. Now, yes, you can move it in some leagues, but not as freely as a 24 and a 25. So I don't like the trade. And I don't care about Michael Wilson. He is a tiny little man, though, if I remember correctly from what I was watching the other day.
He's not tiny. What are you talking about?
Who they hit over the middle? You weren't watching the game with me, so you have
Michael
no
Wilson
idea.
is not tiny.
So who was it? Was it who was the little guy? He was tearing it up. He looked good. It was one pass.
On the Cardinals?
Yeah. It was while I was at the skating rink. Does that help?
Was it Hollywood Brown?
No. I would have recognized Hollywood. Anyway, get to the point. What do you think?
So
looking?
Go ahead.
I was going to say they only have 4 receivers they've played: Rondale Moore, Hollywood Brown, Zach Pascal, and Michael Wilson.
Maybe it was another game then because it wasn't any of those dudes. Never mind.
Nice. No, looking at this team though, where do you think this team is in terms of standings and if it can contend? And I almost like it. Like, when are you going to be able to get 2 firsts for Diggs? And
well, yeah, there is that.
Where's this team going this year?
I don't think this team's gonna win this year. So I assume that his next move is going to be trying to get rid of Sanders and Ridley. For me, a 26 pick doesn't move the needle right now.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I don't know the full scope of his team. What's his record? How good is he relative to his league? We don't even know the format. I mean, he did drop us $20. So, I mean, the only thing I would say is if you're moving Diggs and you're just trying to escape from some of these assets, then really you got to continue. And I mean, why aren't you moving Calvin Ridley? He's only a year younger than Diggs. You know, why are we holding on to, I assume that's Miles Sanders, Roshan Johnson, and Zach Charbonnet? Right. Like, I'd be trading Roshan Johnson as soon as he's the starter, and Miles Sanders would have been gone yesterday. So it feels like if the Diggs is just an escape move, then I can understand building around Puka and Ridley or Watson, Puka, Laporta, the quarterbacks, but, you know, there's other stuff we can move here.
Hey, Scott, you know who's leading the league in targets per game at running back?
Miles Sanders is like number 2 or something.
Miles Sanders is 1, but you know who's also averaging like 3.4 yards per reception? Miles Sanders. Anyway.
So what's you're not selling him, or you are?
I'm selling him. Yeah, I'm definitely selling
him. He's a running back on his second contract.
I'm selling every running back that I've ever met. If your name's not Bijan, yeah, that's it.
Would you even bother trying to move from like a chain to Gibbs? Is there any desire to even do that? Like, would you tack on, let's say, 2 seconds to A chain for Gibbs?
Yeah,
you would do that, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Scott's face. Let's just assume it's our normal stock format we talk.
I mean, the funny thing is Gibbs' usage has been exactly what you've wanted it to be, and like everyone. Well, here, let me rephrase. Montgomery misses the game, and he has 20 touches or 20 opportunities, 18 touches. But we complain because he didn't get enough targets. The week before, he gets 9 targets, but we complain because he only had, 4 carries or 5 carries or something like that. So what people really want is, man, can we get him 9 targets and 17 carries? And how many running backs get that? None. So it's just... I'm fine with Gibbs. The fantasy points just haven't come, but the usage, you're looking at it going like any game, Gibbs could have the 30-plus point game. And now you're going Gibbs, RB2 in Dynasty. You know, it's like, no, I'm not necessarily chasing that, but if you told me I pay a second on top of A-Chain for Gibbs, okay, cool.
Yeah. No, Ray said it well. He it all totally jacked this up, but he was saying something along the lines of people want Gibbs to be a tank, but he's a Ferrari. You know, he's just not going to get just this bruising workload.
No, I don't want him to get a bruising workload. I 9 targets a game. Jesus Lord, sign me up every day of the week. I don't care if he gets 2 carries a game if he's getting that type of target share.
Yeah, he can just eat yards too. Just gobble them up when he gets the ball. Okay, let's go to Giant Detroit. Let's throw this up. Got 2 hammers, 2 squirts, LFG. Thank you for joining. I like the Lions Kool-Aid avatar. It's actually pretty cool. 394 eyeballs in here. Thanks again for joining. That's awesome. Hopefully we can breach that 400. We had over 500 week 1. I don't know. Maybe we're just maybe we're losing it, guys. I don't know. But hit that like if you're in here. Appreciate that. Okay, Dynasty Dumpster Fire. Shane, we're going to start with you on this one.
Okay.
1 of 2, 12-team super flex. Thank you for the super chat. PPR start 9. All in. Love it. QBs, Lamar Jackson, T-Law, Carr, Jimmy G. Running back, ETN, Jacob, Swift, Monty. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Chase, CD, DK Pittman, tight end, Hawkinson. 124 first for the next 3 years. Moves, I obviously have no draft capital. Was thinking of attaching that 24 first T-Law and another asset to get up to the tier above, or should I hold the pick and try to win? Okay.
Could you go back to that first part? Yes,
thank
you. No, I'm fine with LJ and T-Law. I don't feel the need to add a first to T-Law, and I don't know what tier you're going to move up to. Like, if I own Pat Mahomes, I'm probably not giving him to you for T-Law on a first. Same with Jalen Hurts. So I don't think we need to touch anything with the quarterback room. I'd be pretty reticent to move that 24 first since it's the only draft capital I have. It's my only, like, if something were to happen, to JJ or Chase or CD or DK, even Pittman, like that's my one chip to use. I don't want to use it on a position where I'm already fairly strong. So I'd say I'm holding on to that pick, and I'll ride it out until I see another move, if I see another move.
I like this team a lot. I'm not trading away that 24 first. I like that. It's a nice little cozy security blanket. Any quick thoughts there, Scott, on this one?
No,
Look at that wide receiver room.
Yeah, you got like 5 of the top 12
Yeah.
receivers right now, and yeah, your QB2 is holding you back a little bit, but you only have DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson who have outperformed expectations. So just ride with it. That's a really good roster. You'll be fine. Don't trade your first yet.
Oh yeah, and I'll just throw this in here. You said 2-0, 2-1. I'm smashing, but worried I'm practically out of picks for the next 3 years. You're in good shape. Okay, let's move to Seth. Thank you for the super chat. Scott, you're up on this one. 12-team, 1 QB, half PPR, start 9. It's a 10-player keeper league. Okay. Trade Javonte and a very late 24 first for Addison and a 24 third. Not competing this year. Start 9, half PPR. Like, does Addison make it move at all?
Well, it's a keeper. So I assume that what happens is that all the rest of the players go into the pool and then those add to the rookie class. So the late first is probably a decent player, but let's just call it like another Javonte level player. This is essentially like trading 2 for 1. And the third, I mean, probably makes the third a little bit better too. I assume the rookie draft isn't separate, and maybe it is. That's something we have to clarify. Is the rookie draft separate from the rest of the pool, or do all the non-keepers go into the draft class? So like the 101 could be the best player that's not kept along with the 101 rookie. Because if so, then the thirds are valuable too, because there's a bunch of players that are thrown in there as well. So I would take the Addison side if that's the case. If it's a true rookie draft, I could go either way.
Nice. Okay, let's move on to another one here. This is a non-super chat. Thank you, Colin. How much would you add? Whoop. I just got swapped out. What am I reading? This one? Who's touching the buttons? I didn't even touch that.
I didn't do anything.
We'll read this one right here. It's meant to be. Joey Salisbury asked, trade Jerome Ford for a 26 first? Yes. 14-team super flex?
Yes, immediately.
Yes.
Yep. That was actually a really good quick one to throw up there. Like, yes, if you get any first for a guy like Jerome Ford, you just do it.
So I have to do this though, because I said Colin James before it disappeared. How much would you add to Walker to get Amon-Ra?
That is Kenneth.
Does Ken Walker even count in the trade, Shane?
I think he does.
I mean, he
just had another monster game, ton of usage. I'm just giving you the selling points. I wouldn't actually buy this, but
what about
Shane doesn't believe any of this. He's just using it all as a reason to sell.
I mean, these are all legitimate things that have happened. It's just, do I care, or do I think they matter long term? No, I would obviously love Amon-Ra St. Brown over Kenneth Walker. So what was the offer?
Would you tack a playoff 24 first onto Ken Walker to get Amon-Ra?
Yeah, because I'm going to convince. This is where I'm going to talk to myself on the other side of my mouth and tell me, well, late first is almost a second, so it's fine.
Yeah. Amon-Ra's good. He's just quite good. Charbonnet is starting to get some work too. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Okay, let's move on here. Let's go to Benny Bellagio has a super chat for us. Thank you, sir. It is a super flex PPR start 10. Get Fields for a mid to late first.
No.
Mr. Hammerhat, what do you think on this one? You answered before I could even kick it to you.
No, smash someone in the face with a hammer if they try to make you this offer. Metaphysically, not. Or metaphorically, even not in real life.
Whatever you want to do.
Don't hit anyone with a hammer in real life. But no, I would not accept this trade.
Yeah, Benny, we already talked about this at the beginning of the show. So if you weren't here, go back and listen. This is the price if you want to pay. This is probably the most I would consider paying. I don't personally want to pay. But if you're out there going, you know what? I don't agree with these clowns on the screen. I think Fields could be good still. He's going to get traded to another team. He's going to start 50-plus games, and then another team is going to rescue him, and he's going to be elite because he always could have been elite. This is the price you pay. Do not get roped in, even after a big game against Denver, if it happens this weekend, too. Oh, man. a first and 2 seconds, a first and an injured starter. Like, don't get roped in. This is the price. If you want to speculate, 24 first, 25 first, 26 first. If people are trying to gouge for more than that, let them fall on the sword. They're going to be hurting later.
Okay, let's go to Tristan Matthews here. Thank you, sir. 1 of 3, 12 teams, start 10, PPR Superflex. Get Burrow and Chase for Jimmy G, Olave, Puka, Pittman, Keenan, Ferguson in an early second. The roster would be just looking at Shane and Scott. I can't even finish this. Roster would be Burrow, running back 2s, Chase, and 424 first. How would I move forward without splitting these guys?
I'm sorry, this was a start.
It's a start 10, 12 team Superflex. He's getting Burrow and Chase. He's giving Jimmy G, Olave, Puka, Pittman, Keenan, Ferguson in a second.
So Shane, would you pay Chris Olave and Puka Nacua for Jamar Chase?
Yes, I would.
Okay, and then when you put all the rest of it for, it's basically Michael Pittman and Keenan Allen, and I guess Jimmy G counts.
Yes.
I mean, the roster sucks afterwards, but it really is bad when you have just this as your best assets. So yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, but I mean, you have 5
definitely
first
buying
after
the
that, too.
stack there. 100%.
No, but I mean, he's going, okay, now that I have Chase, Burrow, and all draft picks, what do I do? Because my team is thin. But basically what you're saying is what is on the screen is his team right now, except for the picks, right?
I get what he's saying, but 424 first, or excuse me, 424 first, you can be split up pretty significantly. So if I wanted to do so, kick one of them back to 25, use one of those first to get 2 starting wide receivers off a team. Someone like Amari Cooper and Tyler Lockett, you could have given a first and a second for in the offseason. I mean, there's moves to be made.
Is there a way or a world where he sells all of these things on the screen for more than what he's getting? Or is that the best deal he'll get? The Burrow Chase stack is the best he'll get.
I mean, sure, if you add up a bunch of nickels and put them in the roller thing you put coins in, but no, I don't think you're going to turn out be able to get an elite quarterback and the wide receiver 1 like that. No.
Fair.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to this one right here. Husker Chads. Don't recognize this avatar or name. If you're a new listener, welcome. Thank you for the super chat. In Superflex, what would you ask to add in a downgrade from T-Law to Stroud? So yeah, we actually touched on that earlier, right? Wasn't it just a second you said you do? T-Law for Stroud in a second?
Well, Clay, so in Destination Chill, Ray and I are going back and forth right now on a Stroud and T-Law deal.
Oh, nice.
He wants Stroud. And the quarterback scoring, we've documented that on this show, how it's it's high. But he tried to pull this on me this morning. I wake up, I get an offer from Ray, and when I get an offer from Ray, that means he actually took like 4 minutes out of his day to send an offer. And I'm like, okay, he's serious, and he does not mess around. He'll send what he wants. There's not really haggling. So I know how to deal with Ray in terms of like when he sends something, he's serious. He sends me in that league, the QB scoring. He sends me his Trevor Lawrence, and I give him CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. 2 for 1. It's a start 12. The QB scoring is Stroud has outscored T-Law by like 8 points per game in that format so far. But he's also leveraging me on the fact that I'm giving up Stroud's receiver 1 and the stack in a start 12. And I declined it. So if that speaks to what I would add on top of Stroud to get T-Law, it is what? Not even a second, really. Like, I don't have the motivation to do it the other way. I countered him and I said, give me Jacoby Myers back. That's removing the leverage from the trade. I don't know if he does it, but that's so I don't even think it's a second, honestly. Where are you, Shane? Would you give up Nico and Stroud for Lawrence and a start 12?
I don't think so, because I'm not putting on anything on top of Stroud. Look, Stroud was the QB 2 of the class. We'll just say 2. We'll find an even medium, right? He's done everything you'd want him to do with a very meh offense. Like they're professional receivers. I'll give them that, but they're not particularly super great. Yeah. So no, I'm not gonna add anything to him. Why should I? The impetus, it's not on me to add something to CJ Stroud. He's outperformed Trevor Lawrence this year.
Okay, Jillian Myers, thank you for the super chat. So 12 team, 1 QB, start 8, PPR, 1.5 for tight ends. Have Mahomes, ETN, James Cook, Olave, Waddle, and Njoku, Flowers, Jacoby Myers, Boyd, Algier, a couple other running backs there. 0-3, 6th in points. Where do I go from here? So we're looking at the squad here. It's a start 8. Start 8, it's rough. I mean, you have Mahomes, Olave.
I mean, you
Waddle.
got good players. You got,
Yeah.
you know, a great receiver in Olave. You know, you've had some injuries, but like your starting lineup's competitive. Might be a little shallow in terms of, you know, hammers for start 8, but yeah, this is a tough one because you've probably been starting what you thought was going to be a pretty good team, right? Olave, Waddle. You probably didn't start Zay Flowers to start the year, which means you missed out on a couple games. So, yeah, where do you go on this team, Shane? Do you gut the running backs or do you trade one of the running backs and just run it back next year without? I mean, you try to win this year, but you're not like starting to move my pick level. You know what I mean? What do you do?
I mean, 0-3, start 8. I get real crazy in leagues like this. Can I trade Mahomes for Richardson and their best player?
It is a 1 QB.
I know. So okay, so you're right. Richardson. Let's be logical here. So Richardson and someone at the level of slightly above Zay Flowers. I mean, the team is good, but here's the problem. It's start 8. So am I going to be able to sell Boyd, Algier, Pirine, Spears, out Pierce?
Yeah, everybody after Myers is worthless.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to move any of those people. So unless you're willing to add something to Waddle and see if you can tear up, unless you're willing to get balls crazy and add something to James Cook and see if you can get another elite wide receiver, you're pretty much landlocked. There's only so much you can do in a start 8. You know what I mean? Because there's only so many moves you can make when so many players don't matter.
Well, and just one more point about the start 8. So you notice in a start 8, you know what I guarantee? If anybody in here is in a start 8 or a start 9, go look at the teams that are 3-0 and 2-1. And you see in the shallow leagues, if you had Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, or Keenan Allen, those teams are 3-0.
Yeah.
In a start 8, because they've just scored so many points and they were started universally. It's not like anybody had those guys on their bench. Like, those are the undefeated teams. And you might have a good team and you go, damn, I have actually a pretty good lineup, but I just don't have any of those guys that have went nuclear. And that's the volatility of a shallow league. Now, if you can hang in the mix, guess what? Waddle could go for 45 in the playoffs and you win. So the same variance that's bit you thus far could win you matchups later on. So sometimes you just got to roll with what you have. You had a pretty good roster. Consolidate if you can, though.
This is great. From Patrick McQuinn. You guys the best. Waiting for Mannequin Chill this week.
That is a very different,
Mannequin Chill.
Very different type of video. That's on my OnlyFans. That's not on our Patreon.
And we could do a mannequin show where we just get a mannequin of Shane, and then I do the other. I stream with the mannequin of Shane. How about that?
and then this is perfect to put up here. It's all the same. I don't even know what the context of that was, but there we go. We're putting that in. Let's help our friend Bjornar. Commish help. League is freaking out over me as commissioner, allowing another league mate to keep Stroud on the taxi and not forcing him to pick up a tight end from waivers. Has no starting tight end / QB on active roster.
I highlighted this one because I wanted to talk about it, and I actually want to get Clay's thoughts on this because Shane and I have gone back and forth on different ways to exploit rules. I am all about, I don't give a shit about the spirit of the league. If it is not in the bylaws, I will take advantage of it. If it means, if you don't have anything in there about how I have to start a competitive lineup, or if it's potential points and you don't have it in the bylaws that I need to have a full roster, I'll have a roster of 10 players, which means my potential points is going to be shit. But I'm going to do whatever I can that is not explicitly defined to help my team in the future. And clearly he's trying to tank by not having CJ Stroud. So, I mean, I put this here for you, Clay. Is it based on what's in the bylaws? If your bylaws suck, is he doing anything wrong here?
I mean, so I'm the type who, first off, I'm the shittiest commissioner ever, pardon the French. But I tend to be like more, what did you say? You don't care about what?
I do not care about the spirit of the league.
I guess I care a little bit more about the spirit of a league. I don't like stuff like this with Stroud sitting on the taxi and inactive players in lineups. Yes, bylaws are bylaws, and if that's what your league has been going off of, since the start of the league, if everything is going by the bylaws and this is not against the bylaws, then yeah, I mean, whatever. That person is just taking the ability to do that. Max 0.4 fixes this, in my opinion.
The only thing, Matt, is it doesn't if you do not require teams to have a full roster. Because I'm in a league where we had it as potential points or max points. And what we don't have in the bylaws is you have to have a full roster. And a dude dropped down to 12 players. So my potential points is going to be 0. So, or it's going to be very low because I literally don't have any bench players. And my lineup sucks. So you have to have both rules in there to make it effective.
Dude, I don't think there needs to be anything in the bylaws that says you have to submit a player in each roster slot. That's implicit without being explicit. And if he doesn't like it, I'll kick him out of the league.
Nice holdback there.
Thank you. It's that simple. As the commish, dude, I don't care who you pick up. Like literally, I don't care who you pick up. It needs to be a tight end that is on an NFL roster, and you need to submit a lineup with them on it. That is being flat out just lazy. If you're going to I'm going to submit a 0. You know how many tight ends you can find that never get receptions?
So can he start Brett Rippin?
Fine.
Yeah.
At quarterback, sure. But he needs to start a tight end at tight end. And CJ Stroud, that's what taxi squads are for. If he doesn't want to start CJ Stroud, he doesn't need to. So with the one hand, I'll smack him across the face. And then the other, I will rub his belly.
I do think it is important. The theme of this question is in your bylaws, if you're the commish, address the minimums of what people need to do. Because you cannot penalize somebody that goes, well, no one told me I couldn't start this player. No one said, I mean, every one of them is different. I've been in leagues where people find creative ways to start to tank and then people don't like it. And then they start creating rules on the fly. Oh, you got to start that guy. He's better than that guy. As soon as you start legislating that stuff, it's a slippery slope in terms of why aren't you enforcing it here versus enforcing it here? So at least make it clear what the minimums are. And if people don't adhere to the minimums, then you have some sort of penalty.
Badass hat, Zane. Shane?
I'm Shane.
That's my nephew's name. I was literally just thinking about
Shane. You might know me.
It is a bad arse hat there with the hammer on it. I'll drop the link to our merch store in the
again. And I tried to drop the link in YouTube, and YouTube will not let me shill. But the link to the merch will be in the YouTube description. So go get yourself some hammer hats.
Yeah, I need to get a
Christmas is coming. Yarmulke, no, not Yarmulke. Hanukkah is coming. I'm
looking forward to re-listening to it actually because I missed what Shane just said. I'm actually pretty disappointed that I'm not participating in this laughter.
Hanukkah is coming. Christmas is coming. It's the best time to buy presents for your family, and your family needs hammer hats because children love nothing more than, especially my kids, they're gonna love all the hammer hats they get for Hanukkah.
Yeah, and DAZN's in the Patreon, and he's bought a bunch of stuff. He was like, "Hey, I need like a mug too, like a glass mug." And I was like, "Okay." And I went in there and I made it, and he was like, "Yep, that'll do it." So right now we're lean enough with not too many orders to where I can like customize something for you a little bit. Should be careful about what I say there, but okay, let's go to Zachary Skeens here. Thank you for the super chat. Proudly showing off the fact that he's a Dolphins fan. 12-team start 11 PPR Superflex 1.5 for tight ends. Mahomes, Goff, Kyler, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, Warren, Kyron, Charbonnet, Pitts, Chase Smith, Hollywood, Judy, Shaheed. 0-3, second most points scored. What do I do if I fall to 0-5? No 24 first.
Well, you lost Mike Will.
Yep.
You definitely have some problems in certain spots, but I mean, for me, I have a team like this too, where it's just struggling. It's struggling to get wins, but it's like 5th in potential points. And I'm like, I don't have my 24 first. And I already bet against myself earlier in the year. So I think you just keep fighting. Got to have some pride. You know what I mean? Even if you don't make the playoffs, or even if you do just make the playoffs and get eliminated in round 1, there is no way I am putting my tail between my legs and tanking a team for somebody else when they have my first, not when I have Mahomes and Goff and some of these pieces. So I think you just keep fighting, try to get in, try to claw your way back into the mix. And this is a team that, could be dangerous in the playoffs if you get there.
Yeah, it is a pretty solid team. Aaron Jones, maybe I don't know. Is he fine? He's fine this week. He's going to play this week.
Sounds like he's already going to play.
Good to go.
Christian Watson's going to play. We're going to be fine.
Good. Okay. All right. Let's go to Tom here. Thank you for the super chat. Quick one. Price check on Atwell. So let's go with 12 team Superflex PPR. Start time.
So I'm just curious on what you think Tutu Atwell's profile looks like aside from what he's done thus far in 3 games. I mean, what does it translate to when Cooper Kupp comes back? Because he's been pretty good. He's run the most routes on the team, which is interesting. His target share is usable, but not like I have to have it in my lineup. He does look almost identical to Tank Dell. It's just he has this other hammer receiver that if he comes back, like he's not getting 20% of the target share when Cooper Kupp comes back. So I want to say he's a sell high, but like, Shane, can you even sell Tutu Atwell? I mean, what can you get to where it's like it's worth more than me being able to start him for the next week or 2 versus what somebody is going to pay me?
Dude, if I can get a second, I'm out. Give me a second for Tutus.
What if you can't? Because I wouldn't pay a second. Because I can, you know what? There's 10 receivers I can throw in that I probably don't have to pay.
Then I'll add a third to him and see if I can get a second. And if I still can't do that and someone offers me a third, well, I'm just going to let him sit on my roster. Because what's the worst that could happen if I'm only offered a third? I don't get a 3rd round pick. What's the best that can happen? He continues to pop somehow against all conventional wisdom and somehow earns himself into the spot where he's worth it to a second. Then I sell him. So for me, I'm fine holding him at that price.
Would you trade him for a spot start running back? Like, would you trade if you needed a running back right? If you were not playing him this week, would you trade him for Zach Moss?
No, because Zach Moss has limited utility. Zach Moss's fantasy utility and viability.
Does Tutu not if Cooper Kupp comes back in week 5?
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I know for a fact if Jonathan Taylor comes back that Zach Moss is going back into the closet and we're never going to see him again.
But it's a 1 week thing, right? Like I have not played Tutu Atwell this year.
I'm not paying a second rounder for a spot start. I'm not paying something
can
mature. I'm not paying something that can mature to second round value for a spot start now. That's too short sighted. You got to think 2 steps ahead. Yes, you are.
You already said you'd want a second for Tutu, and I told you you will not get a second.
You said that. I'll go on DLF right now and find one.
You cannot get a second for Tutu Atwell in trade.
Whose value can appreciate more likely? Tutu Atwell's or Zach Moss?
Neither.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, that is not the correct answer. It's a binary, one or the other. It is a binary question. This isn't philosophy. You have to choose
Zach Moss in a third for Tutu Atwell. And I need Zach Moss this week. No?
No, I don't need anybody in week 4.
Bro, you should see some of my teams where I am literally hunting for 2 running backs every week. And I go to the market and I go, who has them?
I get you. And I'll start somebody. But I'm saying I'm trying to look, if I'm in a position, if I'm in a position where I have Tutu Atwell and I'm just going to let it mature. Why am I going to take a third? A third doesn't help me. And that's what
Zach Moss and a third.
Zach Moss is almost immaterial to this discussion because Zach Moss, as you noted, is a spot start. Not even Kyron Williams. At least Kyron Williams, I can tell myself he's going to start for the rest of the year, even though
he's RB12 now. So you've blown that out of the water.
Give it another week of production like last week, and then maybe I can make that move. But my point being, I am not gonna move for that now.
You're a buyer of Zach Moss, is what I got out of that.
This is a great market dynamic topic because, like, we literally just said, Shane, would you pay a second for the roster clogger receiver that's Tutu Atwell? And The answer is no, but then you wouldn't trade him for Zach Moss in a third when you need Zach Moss. So
because one of those things can actually mature in value. One of those things can appreciate in value, and it ain't Zach Moss, because as soon as John Taylor comes back, it's all right, Zach Moss, you go away now.
But appreciate to do what?
To be at least a second.
Okay.
All right.
This is just going to go in circles.
Okay. Deloney Bestiner dropped a super sticker at 856.
Did you say Deloney? I'm guessing that's probably Dylan E.
And we've hit the witching hour.
Deloney. Yeah. That's something Shane would say.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, this podcast that I listen to, I think I've said before, but they call it the deep end. Once you get towards the end of it, you just start being silly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to all right, Shane, say this name, please.
Joao Victor Machete.
No. It's mannequin again. We'll go Joao Vitor Macchiori.
That is much closer than what I said. Yes.
That's good. Yeah. Good job.
Thank you for the super chat. Brazil? Yeah, I think so. 12 teams, start 10, super flex, half PPR, 2 trades. Rashad White for Elijah Moore and a 24 third. Let's go with that one first. Rashad White for Elijah Moore and a 24 third. I'm keeping Rashad White, a half PPR, personally. You guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one is 24 first plus Nico Collins for Waddle. The second trade, is it value or should I aim for Chase?
Bro, you could aim for Chase with a 24 first and Nico, but you're just going to get laughed at and ridiculed. At least you should. I think Waddle for Nico and a 24 first is a great deal, assuming it's not the 101, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. If it's a projected mid 24 first, Scott, what side are you on that? Are you willing to go anti-leverage, throw a mid 24 first on top of Nico for Waddle?
Yeah, only for the logic that I really don't think Waddle is probably worth paying multiple first for if you assume that you could break Nico up. But I do think the name Waddle and the asset Waddle is worth getting here. Yeah. Just because Waddle is the guy that could get you to Chase. Nico to a 24 first is not going to really help get you there. But if you have Waddle and you can, especially if you buy at the right time, I think that's one of those where you just buy the asset because the asset has a lot more leverage than the pieces that you gave up to get him. So yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. Thank you for that super chat. Let's go quick one here. Yo, Scott, Shane, Swift or Puka and a half PPR?
Man, this was a tough one. Because, the funny thing is all we heard all offseason was that Swift is bad at rushing and he needs a team that will just give him the ball and, target the running back, which the Eagles have not done. And Swift has not gotten targets yet. And Shane's an Eagles fan, so he can speak to it, but it just looks different when Swift hits the hole versus every other running back they have. So is it that he was a bad rusher, or is it that maybe something Detroit was doing wasn't allowing him to? Because he sure looks like, he's the guy on the Eagles that's getting 6.5 a carry, and every other running back is getting like 3.5. So is it the system or is it Swift? What is it?
The thing is every time they show a replay, the hole is about the side of a parking lot. So maybe his first step is just that much quicker. His burst is just that much quicker to get to that hole, and that's all you need. And
Gainwell doesn't have that burst when I watch it. Penny definitely doesn't have it. So is it just that he's the best fit and we just didn't see it until we see it?
Yeah, and honestly, I did not see them using him. And even last night, the usage was kind of split. Although if you looked at it, it was in the second quarter, it was Gainwell because Swift blew up a blitz assignment. And then the fourth, there was a lot of Gainwell because they're just running down the clock at the end of the game. That said, I definitely didn't see DeAndre Swift getting 15 rushing attempts a game on the Eagles. That said, I'm going to take Puka. One's a running back. The other isn't. As much as I like DeAndre Swift, he's still behind Jalen Hurts in goal line carries. And that will never change. And you know what? If some of these, and I'm not saying it will, but some of these 20-yard runs turn into 10-yard runs, some of these 10-yard runs turn into 4-yard runs, and then all of a sudden that those numbers, if the efficiency drops even a little bit, well, a lot, let's be honest. If the efficiency drops, then there's not going to be scoring there because he's still not getting a lot of targets. He only had 2 targets because that's still Gainwell's realm.
25 first or Swift?
25 first.
Yeah, I mean, I think this goes back to, I was just looking up the market share, and Swift's at 8%, Gainwell's at 7%. So it's low for an offense, but it's also split. So it's probably just not going to get there from a receiving standpoint. So yeah, if you want to liquidate any running back for a first, I mean, you know the names, pretty much anybody but the top couple. That's an easy smash. So I'd take the first.
We stay bullin'. Thank you for the super chat. 12 teams start 10, super flex, PPR. QBs are Anthony Richardson, Kyler, Cousins. It's a good room there. Running back, RB backups. Okay, that's his running back or backups. Wide receivers, DK Addison, Marquise Brown, Gabe Davis, Jamison Williams. Tight end is Andrews. Offered Cousins and Jamison for Flowers. What? He countered with me adding Gabe. Thoughts? And a super flex?
But
So yes, he offered Cousins and he was going to get Zay Flowers. And then he countered by he also has to add Gabe Davis.
Well, he offered Cousins and JMO for
Right.
Zay Flowers.
Which
And the super-
JMO is a 0 in this deal. So it's
Yeah.
basically Cousins for Flowers, which was rejected. And he countered with Cousins and Gabe. I'll let Shane answer, but if you were already going to send Cousins, Gabe Davis is not breaking the deal. If I want Zay Flowers, all I need to give is Gabe Davis. I can also argue I wouldn't have made the deal. I don't think there's a reason for you to make the deal with what you have either. So it's up to
Yeah.
you.
What's the move here? First off, right? What is it like? He listed out AR, Kyler, and Cousins. He doesn't exactly like, is he trying to stank here? Is this strategic tanking going on?
I would assume that has to be because what's that guy's name? Kirk Cousins is giving you good production every week. And if you're trying
QB2
to
thus
compete,
far.
yeah, if you're trying to compete, you definitely want to make this move. I like Flowers a lot. I don't understand why you would do this. So no, I'm not going to do this. No, I would consider this as like, thank you for bailing me out. And then when he sends you the original offer back, which has happened to me in the past, I go, I don't know what I was thinking when I sent that to you. Thank God you weren't smart enough to take it, and just make fun of him. So no.
And people will take you on your word for that. They'll be like, yeah, that's actually like a very Shane thing that could have happened.
I've 1,000%
Manic versus chill. Yeah.
I've 1,000% told people in the past when they've rejected a trade like that and then sent a counter that I rejected, and I'd go, I can't believe you didn't take the first offer. That was terrible on my part. Thank you.
Oh, and everybody loves that.
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
Mac, 12 team Superflex PPR start 11. Trade a late 24 first for Javante.
Is this a 32 team league?
Trade a third for Zach Moss, and you get the same thing until he's dead. Then
It's
you find
Javante
another
Williams
Zach Moss.
Premium League, though.
No.
No.
Hard pass.
Yeah, definitely not. Okay. Let's go to excuse me, Matt West. So we talked about Tank Dell earlier. Thank you for the super chat. It was thoughts on CJ Stroud and Tank Dell. Sell high or keep him. Definitely want to go back and listen to that portion of the show. But Shane, what are you thinking? What are you thinking here? What's your organic response when you see that? Sell high or keep him?
Sell, but again,
would you sell him for a projected late 24 second?
No.
Okay. Second and a third?
Probably.
I was gonna say, what do you want? If it's not a second, what do you want?
Look, Clay's the one that put the caveat that it's a late second, right? So say it's the dude that's 6-0 running away with the league. He's 70 points clear the next closest guy. Do I want his or her second? Not particularly.
Okay.
I got nothing.
We're challenging Shane's value of seconds, I think, tonight. And in the conversation with small receivers, it's like Tank Dell, Tutu Atwell. There's like a disconnect here.
Look, there are days that I'll say this, like even in my own leagues, like I won't put in this much work to looking at what the actual second is. But if someone asks me for advice, I need to know because I'm giving you advice. I want you to take the advice, right? And if I don't want you failing because of my laziness. If I fail because of my own laziness, like I didn't feel like looking at where that second is in my league and it ends up being the 212, well, fine, that's on me.
So not great, Bob. Thank you for the super chat. Give Laporta and Everett get a 25 first, second, and fourth. It's a start 13, 2 QB. Wait, 2 QB super flex? What are
Shane,
what are we?
do all the math with that
Look
scoring.
at
Shane.
this. Look at
All right.
this.
So
Let me
there-
read it. Let me try to read it out. So it is a 2 QB super flex. We're
So
gonna
you
go
can start
with two,
three. You can start three
yeah.
QBs.
Yeah, you can start 3 QBs. It's a start 13, 2 tight ends, 5 point per passing touchdown, -4 for interceptions, 0.33 per carry. Yeah. And then some tiered PPR action. Future
And it's
firsts are in the
2
rookie
tight
draft.
ends
it's
Yeah,
2
2
tight
tight
ends
ends.
and 2
2
PPR.
What a
and 2 PPR. So no, I'm not giving up.
bonkers. Yeah.
No, I'm not giving up Laporta for in that range. Laporta, in case you haven't seen Twitter, is I'm not even going to recite the stats, but also a lot of this discussion leading up to what the actual trade wasn't even really germane to the conversation. Let's keep it on point, people. No, I'm not giving up Laporta for a first and Everett and wait, he has to give Laporta and Everett for the first, second, fourth. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm holding on to Laporta.
What do you charge for Laporta in that format, Scott? He's like 2 firsts if you want him off of me.
So this is not great, Bob. Brian, everyone knows him as being our, he's going to be the future resident commissioner of all DD leagues going forward.
Oh, nice.
But he plays in some wacky leagues. And this was one where I would have to, I know the league that he's speaking to. We've done roster reviews for him before. Like, I would just need to look at the war chart on this. Like, I would really need to like visualize how to roster construct, because like I'm reading here going, man, 2 QBs and super flex QBs are super valuable, right? Then you get to the scoring and you go, man, shitty QBs aren't valuable at all because it's -4 for interceptions, 0.33 point per carry. So the high end running backs are probably really valuable, guys that get a lot of touches. And then you go, oh yeah, casually it's 2 tight end and 2 PPR. And I'm giving away potentially the tight end 1 in Dynasty and Laporta, apparently. So I think I can't even really fathom this until I actually visualized it. So that's to be determined. He knows how to reach us, though. He can hit us up in the Discord if we really want to look at the scoring matrix and the war distribution on that one.
So I'm glad you brought up roster reviews too. So hit us up. You can either go to dynastytradesand5.com/roster review, or just go to dynastytradesand5.com and look to the left-hand side of the screen. But roster reviews are going to start increasing in volume here, like now, just based on our experience from last season, going on back order a few times. So yeah, if you're interested in a roster review, hit us up. You can check out the options where I just told you to go. We have a peer-to-peer option. We have a live one with Shane and Scott where you can do a live Zoom with them, which is awesome. And we also have the hammer tier review where it's where you get a portion of our live stream dedicated to your review. We'll give you some merch, all sorts of other stuff. It's what's the 4 seasons of reviews or something we'll call it. Anyway, check it out. dynastytradesand5.com/roster review, or email roster review at dynastytradesand5.com. Again, there's the peer-to-peer, the live with Shane and Scott, and then the hammer review. Good stuff. Wanted to get that in there because it's the volume starts getting ridiculous right now. So I'm not even being salesy when I say like book ahead. Okay. We're back to João Vitor Marchiori. With another super chat, 1 of 2, 12 teams, start 10, super flex, half PPR, strong contender with Pat and Deshaun Watson, wide receiver Evans, Addison, Dotson, Nico Collins, Diojon. How can I remain contending? Flipping my 2 of 2. Thank you for the additional super chat. Flipping my running back room to wide receivers. Running backs are Breece Hall, Rashad White, Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Tajay Spears, Gainwell. My league values running backs. Want to keep contending, but not suck in 24.
Well, if your league values your running backs, you have too many running backs here. I would be trying to get out on Rashad White or Josh Jacobs or Kyron Williams, any of those 3, 2 of the 3. Because I think you're good enough with your core of Watson and Mahomes and the receivers that you have. I mean, you could still flip Mike Evans or Nico Collins, but like really, I'm probably looking at which running backs can I liquidate. Then I can just determine if I want to buy another piece with what I get back and extend my roster shelf life a little bit more. I don't want to be riding Rashad White, Josh Jacobs, or Kyron Williams all year. Like you don't want to be left holding all three of those guys at the end of this year. So I'd be willing to get out on at least one, if not two.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people answer their own questions. I don't know if they mean to do that or if they just don't notice that they answered their own question. But you said it. Your league values running backs. We'll go try to trade some of those running backs. I don't want to get into the Brees Hall. I probably wouldn't be looking to move him, but you have several running backs that you could move.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it that way. Like league values running backs a lot. It's like, well, you have too many. If they're that valuable, why are they? Yeah, interesting stuff there. All right, so Koogski, what's up, Koogski? He's in the Discord. Thank you for the super chat. 1 of 2, 14-team start 11 super flex PPR 2.0 for tight ends. Came out of a rebuild strong at 5-1, second in points for. Full orb with Tucker, Strong, Foreman, and Zamir. Have Watson, Herbert, Anthony Richardson at QB, plus an extra 24 first and second. Tier off of Anthony Richardson or Watson to get extra picks and or hammer running back. Buy with picks or keep riding it till we get deep into the season. Also have Waller, Laporta, and Ingram. Pivot to one running back?
You know my answer. I have a team with Mahomes, Herbert, and Richardson, and it's a league where the QBs are super scarce. It's a 14-teamer. I'm not touching that until I have to. That's my last-ditch effort if my pivoting off of one of those QBs. And, I mean, he's got the same thing, but it's Watson, not Mahomes. So, I'd rather fill in the gaps before I move one of those guys. That's the last thing I'm doing, unless it's just a crazy offer where I go, you've offered me 4 starters for Justin Herbert. Okay, I'll trade him, but that's it. It's got to be insane.
Yeah, and if I were going to move one of those quarterbacks, it wouldn't be to fill a running back position. It'd be to get me for that. I want a top 5 dynasty receiver. Like it's got to be Chase, Jefferson, CD Lamb, Chris Olave, or Puka Nacua. Joking, not Puka Nacua.
Joking. All right, we've just got a couple left here. It looks like. Thank you for that super chat, Koogski. I'm gonna hide this one. Okay. Going to Sean Salka. Thank you very much. 12 teams, start 9, half PPR. Lamar, Watson, Carr, Bijan, Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Jerome Ford, any RB on a 53. Cup, Olave, Tyreek Hill, Godwin, Deontay, Burks, Tutu, Kelsey, and Joku. 124 first, likely number 3. Thirds and 24 to 26. No other seconds or firsts. 2 of 2. Need help to make a move to secure the ship, as there are 2 competitive teams with me. Will need to be a hammer type, I assume. Not a big market for Burks or Diojon.
Yeah, there's not a big market for Burks because he sucks. Diojon because he's injured. But anyway, 12 teams, start 9, 7. What's the question?
He just wants to know kind of what to do. I will say this. Shane writes a really good article every week talking about utilization. There's a lot of utilization reports out there. Fantasy Life has a really good free site that updates everybody's target share, yards per route run, quality of their targets, pretty much anything you'd want to know about wide receivers specifically. One thing that I'm going to be trying to do is on teams where I'm trying to contend, but I'm stuck with this weird value of receivers that are not producing. So like Burks is perfect, where he is worth, you're not getting a first, but he's also one of those guys where as soon as he does anything, if it's positive, people will go, oh, I like him again.
Yep.
Like, can I pivot to a less desirable receiver that I know is good, that is way more productive, that I can probably get for, like, that's how I want to get out of guys like Burks.
Like Jacoby Myers in a second would be ideal. That kind of thing.
The thing is, I don't even need it. I don't even need the plus. If I can get the plus, fine. But if I can go to, I mean, I'm looking at market share right now. If I can go to Marquise Brown for Treylon Burks, like he's just a flat out better player. The risks that I'm buying are different than the risks that I'm buying if I'm holding Treylon Burks, right? Like with Burks, I'm waiting for a window but I also know he has the name value to go on top of it to where if the window happens, I probably have a better asset. Once I pivot to a guy like Hollywood Brown, I'm stuck with him. I got to hope he's a good player. But if you have those guys, Myers, Hollywood Brown, there's a couple others that I'm not super bullish on, but, even a tier below, like Elijah Moore, been a little bit better than I thought he would be this year. Like you could go to that range and see if you can swap one for one. Don't get greedy though, because he says Burks has no market. Have you guys tried to move Burks in a league? It's not that he's not worth anything. Nobody wants him. So it's like no one even tries to get him. So that's what you got to do to get out of those guys. Otherwise, they just rot on your bench. Then you're in danger of turning into Rashad Bateman next year, where you end up holding, and then it never works.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to Michael McKevin here. Thank you for the super chat. What are you selling Jordan Love for in terms of picks? Rebuilding and deep at QB. Might be able to get 25 plus 26 first and a 25 third and a 26 second. So if you're really deep, you're rebuilding, you're deep at QB though, would you sell Jordan Love for a 25 first and a 26 first?
Why? If you're rebuilding, aren't you comfortable holding quarterback assets that you're not thinking are going to expire? I mean, if it's Kirk Cousins, then okay, I can understand selling him. But a guy that still has maybe an upward market a little bit, I don't know. Shane, what do you think? You're rebuilding. Aren't you comfortable holding Jordan Love?
Yeah, I like Love. I probably paid absolutely nothing or minimal to get him. Late first, most leagues to get him, if that. I have no impetus to sell him for a 25 and a 26 first. Again, if it's a 24 and a 25 and I'm rebuilding, I'll think about it. Like that's different for me. That's a different math equation. But that 26 first, meh.
You know what I will do that I think is where you gain leverage and you can end up in a better spot. Now you're going to take a little risk, but look at the QBs that someone is coming to you that has, and they want Jordan Love, right? Like if they go, man, I'm sick of my Daniel Jones QB room.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Daniel Jones and a 25 first for Jordan Love. Put your money where your mouth is. You want the younger quarterback that has upward mobility and value, throw in your Daniel Jones. And immediately they're going to see through that deal and go, man, they're going to see the rosy side of Daniel Jones again as soon as you ask for it.
Yeah. Right. What about Kenny Pickett? Same kind of thing. Try to move Love for Pickett in the first.
The point is, if you're right on the QB you get back, you netted a free first in a rebuild where you were comfortable going with one of the QBs to begin with. But don't let them just buy for picks. Ask for that other QB they have that they're a little down on. So try that first.
Yep. Guys, that's all we got. That's all we got. Yeah,
Okay.
on our starred list. We have 425 people in here. Make sure to hit that like. Do us a favor, hit that like. Easiest way to help out the channel on your way out. Said someone's offering me a 25 second for Moss. Okay, so bye. Take that second.
Take it.
Yeah. But check out patreon.com/allgas. Take a peek at our Dynasty Trades in 5 tier. We'd love it if you join us over there. Lots of extra content. Live AMAs. We got morning drives with Shane and Scott, all sorts of stuff. So patreon.com/allgas or go to dynastytradesin5.com. And on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see our Patreon, roster reviews, merch store, all of that good stuff. So that's all I got. Guys, you want to say bye to the crowd here?
Bye.
There's a bye.
I mean,
Shane?
So for a lot of you, we won't see you again until Tuesday, and that's your loss. For most of you, for a good bit of you at least, not most of you, but a good bit of you, we'll see you in the chat, and we'll see you multiple times this week before we see everyone else, like repeatedly, and talk.
Yeah, no, it's another awesome stream. Yeah, Manic and Chill will be out as well this week. Friday is always our goal for dropping Manic and Chill, so be on the lookout for that.
And we finally, I think, figured out the recording bot in Discord.
Nice.
So anytime Shane and I just do a quick rap session, we jump into the stages and just do a quick discussion. And we can start doing that a little more often once we start getting the groove of things. And once the, kind of the subscriber count starts to go up in there to where it's constantly full and we can get 25, 30 people pretty much at any time. Yep. We'll jump in there, we'll record it, and we'll release it just in the Discord. And just let everybody that was in there listen to it, because not everybody can make the stages. Sure. The Monday morning drive isn't the greatest time for a lot of people to, tap in live. And
That's pretty good. It's a pretty good crowd for 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is.
Yeah, it actually was. There's like 12 people or something on there. Yeah,
it is. So, but you get extra content, and it's a lot of times just Shane and I, like, we're already in there typing. I'd rather talk than type. So yeah, let's go in there and just chat. So.
Yeah, and Saturday AMAs, you guys go for an hour. It was like, or hour plus. It was 9 to 10 p.m., 10:15. So good stuff.
And those have been spicy the last couple of weeks. Shane and I get into it on a couple of topics. Just like if you like the Zach Moss Tutu Atwell debate, that's the level of pettiness that those AMAs get to.
Right. Oh man, good stuff. All right, y'all. I'm gonna end this stream. Have a good one.
See ya.